Hi everyone, welcome back to our session. Just give me a minute, I'll be sharing my screen. Are you able to see my screen and able to hear me? Could you please let me know the chat window? Thank you. Thank you for confirming. So in the last session we had just started with JavaScript and I just want to revise that one, which is like we have seen how the HTML and CSS with Bootstrap really works and how to make the pages. And if we want to add some action to the particular web pages, while on the accessing on the browser, so we need to have to make use of some script. So that script is JavaScript, what we are targeting to. So JavaScript is a programming language. So why we are calling it as a programming language is earlier days we will be using this JavaScript as a client-side scripting language. Client side is the browser side where the user tries to connect to a server. So server is somewhere in the backend programming where we'll be creating the servers and the pages will be there in the server, and client will be requesting from the browsers end. So when it comes to client-side scripting language, it will runs in the browser. So that is the meaning of client-side scripting language. So later on, this JavaScript has been evolved into libraries and frameworks. Then this was defining now as a programming language, but it initially started and designed to interact with elements of the web pages. And we can also say like this is a scripting language or a client-side scripting language. That depends how we are making use of it. And this was introduced by Brandon Yak. So he's a 19 at the time of 1995. He's a Netscape developer. So initially it was named as a Mocha, and then LiveScript, and then JavaScript. So this was maintaining all the script standards and everything was maintaining by the ECMA. ECMA is nothing but the European Computer Manufacturers Association. So based on their technical committee and the meeting resolutions, they'll be introduced this one on the technical committee 39. This JavaScript was introduced. And when we are talking about the ECMA and all, so we'll be talking about the versions of the ES, which is ES5 and ES6. So in this currently language, whatever we are learning, there is a basic JavaScript which we will be targeting it as a ES5. So ES6 is the advanced JavaScript which was standardized on from 2015 and which we'll be calling it as a ES6. And ES5 is first standardized version of the JavaScript, which is a basic JavaScript which was done on 2009 and was called as the ES5. Okay. So to understand the JavaScript in the browser, we need to have to understand and we need to have to divide into three main parts. So this three main parts, which includes the core functionality, where the ES6 and ES5 will be taking care, and where it will be having the basic syntaxes of your JavaScript, like how to define the variables, how to define the functions, what is the JavaScript syntax, and all it will all comes into this particular ES5. Okay, and the second one is a document object model, which we will be calling it as a DOM. So DOM is nothing but every HTML page is a document. So in this document, if we want to interact with the elements by using the script, we'll be using the DOM. So this DOM provides the interfaces for interacting with elements on web pages. Likewise, we have the DOM. DOM is the browser object model. So once the page has been loaded into the browser, we need to have to control some of the features of the browser, and we just want to use some of the features of the browser like storage, like how to access the URLs and how to control with the URLs and how to make use of the URLs, and sometimes you need to have to get the data from the URL. All these things which we will be taking care in the browser object model, and where it provides the API for interacting with the web browser. So while discussing with the JavaScript, we need to have to discuss about three main parts, which is core JavaScript, DOM, and BOM. Okay, and how do we make use of this particular script inside our HTML pages? So JavaScript should be written inside the script element in HTML, where it will be having the script element. And scripts can be of two types, where we can write inside our HTML. So for example, this is the HTML page, and if you want to make use of the script, you can write over here. So for example, I'm just declaring a simple variable, and I just want to see this variable equals the value inside a console. As we have discussed, this page, whatever the output, we can see and test it over in the browser by using the console of your the view source. Inspecting, by using inspecting, we can open the developer tools. So till now we have seen the elements part. Now we are going to see the console part. You can also see that the elements console and all, and we have seen this also, this and all. So now we will be seeing the console. So in this console, what is the output you are getting from? You can see that line number 9. If you click on that, it will be displaying whatever the line it is coming from in your code. So that is taking you into the sources. So again, there is a new thing here, which is elements and console, which will gives you the output of the console. So whatever you want to test it, you can write it. But once you are ready for the deployment, you need to have to remove all the console.logs from your application, and then you have to deploy, because it will create a logs in the browser wherever you are deploying it. So that is not a good practice. So you will need to have to remove all the consoles while removing from it. Okay, and that is what elements and console part, we will be testing it, what are all the JavaScript outputs we are getting it, and we will be seeing inside it. Okay, and yeah, this is one type of script, and another one is like we need to have to make use of the external JS file, and where we'll be making use of plus 20, and I'm just using here. And this we need to have include over here, so we can include in the head or body, anything is fine, but making it as a good practice, we will be including that in the head, because it will not merge with your HTML code like that. So now I just want to link my file by using the src attribute is the one where we'll be taking care over here. So if you can see, this is an internal script and this is external script, and if we go here and execute this, if you can see here, this is coming from the script JS2, and the previous one it is coming from the index.html line number 9, and this is JavaScript line number 2, which is in the script file. So this is how it will be coming in. So you need to have to check that like this. So from now on, we can make use of the external script instead of using internal script. I'm just removing this internal script from here. Okay, and then coming to our syntax, so which is like, so these are the things which is we have discussed right now, which is like the the JavaScript should be written inside the script element, and the external files has to save with extension .js and include in the script within the SASE attribute, and where it will be like this. script SRC kind of thing that we can include automatically over here by using the dot. We can get it and we can make select that and we can make use of it. So in that case, we can define the script as a two types, which is like internal script and external script. And when it comes to JavaScript syntax, there are seven most common things where we can, based on that, we can write the code. So which is like JavaScript syntax contains the white spaces where we'll be using to uh, specify the content between each and everything. For example, in this, if we can see, this is a variable space A. So all the spaces will be considering, but JavaScript ignores. So if you can see here, it refers to the characters that provide the space between other characters, and the space, normal space, a new line, a tab. All this includes in the white spaces. And by the way, that JavaScript ignores the white spaces, that we can use the white spaces to format that code to make it easy to read and maintain. And also sometimes the spaces are very much necessary to separate from the keywords and when we are defining some data kind of thing. So for example, if you can see, this is var a. I just little zoom it so that you can clearly see this. And if you remove this one, it will be like this. So it is merging with your variable. So this is how. So now it is not a keyboard and kind of things, and then that became a different word. So spaces are generally to make use of your understanding. So whenever we are making use of some space, that space JavaScript ignores it and it will not throws any error. So why we have to specify this is like in Python, like programming languages, we'll be having the spaces as a very good importance. So indentation makes some changes. Like indentation should be there for the some of the programming languages like Python. So here the white spaces is ignorable by the browser and the JavaScript engine simply ignores it. But you'll try to understand what code we are trying to write and here or there. Okay. So next comes to like the statements part. So statements are like whenever we are writing some code, when we are declaring some variable. For example, here, this is a statement and this is a statement. All the statements are concluding by a or terminated by a semicolon. So semicolon is optional. Sometimes we can use and sometimes we can avoid using it also. And what is a statement? A statement is a code that declares a variable or instructs JavaScript engine to do some task. So which is like we'll be using it like this. And next comes to like identifiers. Identifiers are those where we will be giving some names to the functions or variables or parameters or what we are using. Everything names comes into the identifiers, and that names will be having some rules over here. So names and the identifier should have a starting letter with capital letters A or small letters A or underscore or dollar, and the following characters can be a number or a alphabetical or a dollar or a underscore. So apart from these, we can't use it as an identifier. So we just have to make a note over here, which is like if you are using plus, minus, operators, all these special characters is not allowed. Only simply a text with the starting letter or underscore or dollar, and other characters can have an. For example, A, so 9A is not allowed. Instead, we can use the A9. Like that, we can have the A underscore 9 or A like this, or you can simply have a dollar, but you don't have to use anything else over here, right? So that will throw an error. So simply we can make use of it like this. And next comes to like a block, so which is like where in which we'll be having the multiple statements. So in that, so we just want to execute it as a block so that all the statements in that block will execute at once with some, calling of the condition or calling of the particular function, however we do. Okay, so that we will discuss what are all the blocks and how we will be making use of it. But blocks at this level, you need to have to understand block is nothing but it's a collection of more simple statements, and it will be like this. And it is delimited by a pair of curly brackets, which is like this. So if, for example, if there is a condition is there, and we'll be using the curly brackets and we'll be writing the statements inside. And next comes to comments. Comments allow us to note hints JavaScript code by executing the code, and JavaScript ignores the comments. So just like you just don't want to use this code, you can simply do the control plus forward slash where it will be like this. So it is a single line comments and where it will not execute. For example, if you want to go here and if you can see the console, there is not because we have commented it. Just will not execute those comments. And likewise, anything which is resulting a value will be having an expression. So expressions is a piece of code that evaluates to a value. So we'll be having those expressions inside our JavaScript. And next comes to like there are keywords and result words where we'll be using it inside our program. For example, var is for defining the variables like that. So we'll be having lot many keywords. So functions will be the function keyword. All these function keyword, I mean keywords and result words which will making impact to define how we'll be making use of it. So this is just a revision of your previous class, and you can see the keywords over here in this uh, developer link, and which I already shared to you earlier. So now comes to like we need to have to define the variables, and what is a variable? So variable is a label that references a value like a number or a string, or it can be a boolean also. And to declare a variable, we use the var keyword followed by the identifier. We can see here this is a var keyword followed by the identifier, and this is assigning. So if you want to see this and how it is going forward, I just use the same thing on A9. Okay, now you can see here there is undefined, it is coming up. So this undefined is nothing but, so if you can see, a variable name can be any valid identifier. By default, the variable has a special value which is undefined. If we want to assign a value to it, I mean, if we haven't assigned a value to it, so just like if you are assigning some value, assigning will comes to the assignment operator that we'll discuss little later. Now you can see I have assigned 20 to that particular a underscore a9, and it will be coming like this, right? So which is it will be coming like this, and we can define var message, var a, var condition like this. And in the ES6, we'll be having two more to define a variable, which is let and cons. That we will discuss at the point of ES6. Okay. And which is like the default value will be undefined, which we will be making use. So while defining, which you need to have to make use of the values. So sometimes like we can make use. So sometimes we can declare the variable and we'll be getting the value somewhere. For example, I just want to use it all like this, and I will be using 9 equals to 40. So it will be different like this. Okay, this is declaration. So we'll be calling it as a variable declaration. And this is called as assignment. Okay, so this is how we'll be making use of it. So when the variables will be happening, so variables names are, which is like variable names are nothing but the identifiers of the variables are case sensitive. So case sensitive means which is like it will be taking care. Case sensitive means whenever we have a message with small letter and capital letter, which is passing, and it will be treating it as a two different variables here. And likewise, like we'll be having the var message, and then the second var msg will be having the s as a capital. So it will be treating these two are two different things. Okay, so whenever you are making use of the identifiers, you need to have to take care of how we are using it. and that is very important. So if you are doing like something else over here, so if you are using a with capital letter, okay. And now you can see could not find A9. Do you mean A9? No, I just want to use this A9. And if I am using it, now I can see this is undefined because this A9 and this A9 are two different things. If you want to execute this underscore A9, I'm printing both the values over here. If you can see undefined and 40. It's because of this is having another variable reference. But if you are not using the var also, it will be taking it as a so var is an optional. So as we are not using the strict mode over here, so strict mode which will evaluate strictly like this. For example, use strict. Okay. So if you are using it, then it will throw an error. A9 is not defined. But as we are not using the strict mode, it will allows us to define whatever you just you write over here. So once you check with the strict mode, then the declarations, everything will be checked. But at this point of time, we are not using the strict mode, and it will be giving you the variable as a two different things whenever we are using it. So we need to have to carefully, we have to write that case sensitive matters over here so that it will give you a better understanding. So as we have seen, the variable names can contain letters, numbers, underscore, dollar sign, and cannot contain the spaces. And spaces is also important. So it's just like if you give some space over here, this will not give you any meaning, and it will not execute further. I mean, it will throw an error like this, and it will be uh, giving you the space. It will not consider. So that is what the thing it will be. And variable names should not contain the spaces. And likewise, when we are trying to define the data, we'll be having the primitive data types over here. So what are the data types we'll be using is null, undefined, boolean, number, string, and symbol that we'll be discussing in the ES6. And big integer we'll be making uses are the ES next, which is like ES 2021. It was introduced to handle the big length of numbers like crores of crores of crores. So how do you handle it? So number is not capable of doing it. So then it will be coming into the big integer. So it will be taking care of that one. And there is another complex data type it will be having is object. So which is like whenever you are uh, having the object like whenever we are talking about the data like a collection or an array kind of thing. So which is like we'll be using that we'll be having a complex data type which is an object. So these are all the data types. So if you are not define anything or something it goes wrong, it will be nullified, the value will be nullified. And undefined, just now we have seen what is an undefined and all. So to know what is the operator, I mean to know what type it is, then we'll be seeing it as a type of operator. For example, I'm just showing everything and I'm just var a equals to 10, var b, I'm not defining anything, var c equals to str, var d equals to true, okay, and I'll just do some console.log of. I'm using type of operator for here to know what are all the types for this one. Type of P, comma type of C, comma type of T. So I'm just trying to execute four types what it will be having. So now you can see this is number, this is undefined, this is string, and this is boolean. So this is how it will be useful for it. So now and now I'm just using one more type over here, which is um, type of E. So whenever we are using it, it will be a number format, which is if you can see 10 by 10, it will gives you the result of I just use the E. So which will be it is not a number. So when you are getting the not a number as well, that is a number type. Okay, which is like it is trying to convert that into a number when we are dividing this string by a number. And if it is taking care, then the number format it is dominating, and it will be giving trying to convert that into a number, and the format, I mean the data type of that one is a number here. Okay, so this is we have seen undefined, a boolean, a number, a string kind of thing, right? So null is like when we don't have anything, so it's just like if you want to see the nullified value, so which is we can get it as a null. So for example, I'm trying to define a value which is var f equals to null. Okay, and I am just type of f. Okay, now you can see that number, object, string, boolean, number, and object. So if you can see, this EF value is null, but it is related to the type of object. So it is like null is a data type, but instead we are using it as a data type. So it will be coming it as an object data type, which is like object is the one which is a complex data type what we are discussing about. So likewise, and when we are making use of some collection is like here. So G equals to an array, which is like all these values when I am mixing in a collection. So this is a collection, and whenever I'm trying to use the type of for the G, now you can see the last thing over here, which is also an object, right? And when we have the data like this, where H equals to, it is just like a data what it is. So for example, A value is 10, B value is 20, kind of this will be there. Now I'm using the type of with H, right? So all these types which we are mentioning out here, if you can see, this is object, object, and object, and then number, undefined. So these are all the basic data types how we will be making. So all this we'll be using inside the code. So first of all, we need to have to understand what are the types over here and like this. So to check the what type it is, we will be using the type of operator. Type of is an operator used to get the data of a variable. So and when we validate a number, it is not a number. We'll get an NaN, which is giving you the not a number. So NaN is the not a number. So when we are discussing with the strings, so strings will be using some spaces to make use of these kind of statements. So for that we will be using the slash characters, which is the backslash characters, to escape that particular special characters what we'll be having. So for example, if I am showing this one, so if I'm using I am a software developer now, if you are using it and it will be throwing an error and it will see after argument list they should be there. So to remove this one, so we can also control with double quotes and single quotes combination like this. So now you are able to get this. But if you want to manage that with with the single quotes only, then you have to make use of the backslash like this. So backslash is everything will be useful to escape from that whatever the next special character will be. So likewise we have the new line and a tab and a slash r slash n kind of thing. You can make use of it, and you can see that how it will be changing off here. And next comes to like when we are defining the data, and we need to have to talk about the operators. So in the objects, in the complex data type objects, we'll be having arrays and objects that we will discuss a little later. So when it comes to operators, I think you are aware of these operators, which is like arithmetic operators, which will give you a plus, minus, asterisk, and this divide by. And we have the reminder operator. So reminder operator which will give you the reminder of this. For example, I'm just giving you this example where a equals to 20 and b equals to 6, and we'll be having a modulus b, which is a reminder operator we'll be using. So in this case, what we'll be getting? So we'll be getting the reminder if it is anything. So which is like 6 threes are 18, and there is two reminder out there. So to display that reminder, we'll be using the reminder operator. And this symbol will be calling it as a modulus, and these are all comes into the arithmetic operators to do some operations like this. So now it comes to like when we are defining the data about the strings. So for example, over here strings and um, numbers we'll be using. So for example, I am using var a equals to 10 and b equals to 20, and I'm doing a plus b equals to, and what is that type, which is like if you can see, it is getting the string, so it is like 20 plus 10, and there is an plus operator for the strings also, which is giving you the string concatenation. So in that case, what it will do is like it will convert the number into the string, and it will be displaying that string concatenation. It will perform the string concatenation, and it will be defining like this. So how it will be coming? It is coming with a 10 20, not like a 30, not like 30. It will be coming with a 10 20. And what is the type of the string? Like if you can see it, it is string only. Okay, then if I am using trying to use the minus operator, so minus operator which is giving you 10 uh, hyphen 20, but if it is there is nothing with a plus in strings, so then it will consider your this 20 as a number, and because the 20 is a valid value, it will consider the number and it will be getting it like this. So converting or making use of this conversion of the type from one type to another type is nothing but the type conversion. So the type conversion gives you the conversion of the time while doing the program according to the priority of the operators. So if it is there, it will be like this. So for example, you may have a question like I just have this text like this. So then how it will be treating? So then what is your answer? It should be a simple, not a number. And it is trying to get that number over here, whatever the end result it should be. And it will be like this. Okay. So these are all about the type version and all. And basically we have discussed about arithmetic operators. Now we are trying to explore some assignment operators. So assignment operators are nothing but to assign a value. We'll be using equals to, which is like a equals to b, then the b value will be giving to the a, and like that we have plus equals to, minus equals to, asterisk equals to, divide by equals to, modulus equals to, and equals to, or equals to, XOR, which is a cap operator, and shift operator, shifting left, shifting right, and move, shifting right. So this we will discuss little later as these are not making any sense over here, and which we need to have to define more things. And here, if you can see the plus operator, which if you are using like this, a plus equals to b, then a value will be a plus b. The meaning of this statement is this. So likewise, we'll be using a minus equals to b, then that is a equals to a minus b. So like that, it will be defining. So if you want to assign any value, if you are using already a equals to, that comes into the assignment operator, right? And when it comes to unary operators, so unary operators works on a value and it will convert the value into, if it is a valid number, so then it will be converting into a number. So for example, here I'm just defining 20, and I'm using the plus operator over here, right? So which is a plus operator which is giving you that into a conversion of the string, right? So just distant also it is converting into a string. Now if I'm using another plus before b, now you can see that value has been converted. This value has been converted into a number and it will be okay. So like that we have minus also, which is like it will be converting a value and it will negate it. And we have incremental and decremental operators. So incremental and decremental operators, it will work on a value, for example. So I just use the console.log of plus plus c. Okay, likewise. So if you can see the 31, 31, 31, and 32. So here the value is 30. So here it becomes 31 because it is already incremented and it was pre-increment, which is like it was incremented and it was stores the value as C. And when we are trying to use this C over here, it will be like this. And here it will be displaying the C value, which is 31 uh, and 31, and then it will be adding the number. So when it comes to here, then it will be 32. Right. So it is like post increment and pre increment like that. So likewise, we'll be having the post decrement and pre decrement to decrease the value of it. So basically, operators, unary operators works on a value. It will try to convert a value into a number, and once you want to negate it also, it will be like this. And when it comes to like comparison operators, so comparison operators will be resulting in Boolean value, which is like if you can see it is greater, less than equals to, greater than equals to, or not equals to kind of things, which is it will gives you the output of greater than or not, which is I just type this console dot log of a greater than b. Okay, so now here it is giving you the false, which is like 10 is greater than 20, no, and 10 is less than b, it is 2, because it is considering it as a uh, you know value, not as a string, even though if you write that strings also it is like this, and like this, greater than equals to, less than equals to, and equals to. Okay. So 10 equals to b, no, right? And 10 equals to 10, it is true. And I'm using string 10 equals to normal 10, it is true. But when I use the strictly equals to 3 equal over here, so then it will be false, because this is considering with the value and the type also, because basically this is number type and this is string type, then this will not be allowed. So likewise, we have strictly not equal and strictly equal. If it is strictly not equal, then it will be true, and if it is strictly equal, then it will be false. So these are the things: equal, not equal, strictly not equal. So you need to have to consider all these things. And then we have a conditional statement. Before going to the conditional statements, there are some number and string methods where we have to do some exercise over here. So, okay, so there are more logical operators also there. So numbers and string methods. So what we can do is like we need to have to consider some of the numbers with conversion of the numbers and strings. So for that we'll be having a document where I'll be sharing to you. Um, Yeah, this is the numbers method. So which is like numbers and string method. So which is like two string method, which is like it will be converting your numbers into strings and whatever you just want to do it. So two exponential, two fixed, two precision, two value of, and variables. Converting the variables into numbers will be using number method, parse int and parse float. All these things will be useful for your uh, you know upcoming usage of how the values and the numbers you just want to play with by formatting and all. So all these things you just try, and I will be sharing this document to you so that it will be handy for you. Likewise, we'll be having a maximum value, minimum value, positive infinity, negative infinity, and not a number also. You have seen that, so it will be you have to try all those things. So simply you just have to try 1 to 7 pages, and after that we'll see the other things like array dot for each when we are discussing about the arrays and all. Okay. So now 1 to 7 pages in this document, you just have to quickly go through and execute all those things. And if you let me know if you have any further questions on that document. Now I'm continuing with the other operators, which is like logical operators. Logical operators will be having three types, which is like logical not, logical or, and logical and. And we have the double negation also when we are using the two logical not operators. It will revert that scenario into true. For example, if we are using the negate operator before anything. So, for example, if not defined, not undefined, or zero, all these things are defaultly false. For example, I just copy this statement here, or just now you can see here. If I'm using undefined, what is the output it is getting? It is undefined only. Okay, so which is undefined is a value. If you are defining that as a not operator, then it will gives you the true or false. So not deep undefined means undefined is false, not undefined is true. If I'm using double negation for this one, then it will be coming into the false. So just negating again, which is making that into not. So not means it will be coming into true and a false. So when it is not null, it is a true. When it is a number not 20, because 20 is a value, 20 is a true, then it will be coming it as a false. So not 20 is a false, so 20 is true, not 20 is false. So 0 is false, not 0 is true, not nan is false, and not nan is true. And object, so whenever we are writing into the curly brackets, that is a true, and when we are using a not operator, then it will be coming as a false, and a not operator before we'll be using in blank text, then it will be false and it will be true now. And when we have the text, then it is true, and when we are using the not operator, then it will be false. So likewise, not false is true, not true is false. And if you are using the double negate operators, it will be like this, and it will be negate all those values, and whatever the output of the true values will be coming the false, and false will be coming to the true. And next comes to like logic operators. So logic operators are very much important, and when we are working with the numbers and other values, it will be more important. So if you can consider the true and value scenario, which is like logical operator, which will be having scenario like this. So which is like will be having the A and B and A values, both A values. Uh, um, like if both the values are false, then it will be a false, and either of the one is true, then it will be coming into the true. The opposite scenario will be like an operator, which is like both are true, then it will be a true, or else if it is um, even one statement, one A or B value is false, then this will be a false. So generally we'll be using for the numbers, for example. So numbers will not take it as a boolean. So when we are using with the operators, so for example, A equals to 20 or 30. Okay, and console log of. A. Okay. So now if we can see A is value, which is true, or 30. So when it is true, it will hold over here itself. If you can see, that is 20. And when we are using it as a 0 or 30, then it will goes to the 30. So it is like if it is false, then it will go to the true statement. So what if this is also 0? 0 or 0, it will not be a case, never, but it will finally go to hold that 0 at the final stage like this. And likewise, we have 10 and 20. So just like b value, I'm making this of 10 and 20 on here, and which is going to be like this. You can see that 20 value there because 10 is true, then it will goes to the 20. And if you are using 0 over here, then it will be coming into the 0. The reverse scenario, which is like the b value is false, then it will not go further. When it is true, then it is go further in the or operator. When it is false, it will not go further forward in the in this scenario. Okay, so this is how it will be. The console.log of with the different examples will be making use of it. And next comes to like logical assignment operators. The same thing when you are using the OR operator if you are not having anything. So for example, over here, if it is a combination of logical OR with the assignment we are attaching to it, so it will be like this. So which is logical OR with assignment and with assignment, and there is a null as well as thing assignment operator which is appearing over here. So it will be used inside the objects, but at this point of time, I'm not preferring you to see into that. But if you can see it over here, the title and something, you just tie with the or and operator, you can get it understandable, which is like when the title is something. If it is the title is there, then you can make use of the something, or as if the title is not there, then it will be giving you untitled. So this I'll simply show you like this. So the output will be like something it will be coming. If I don't have anything over here, if it is a blank, now it will comes to the untitled, which means when there is no value, then this will be defined like this, which is like if you are forgetting to add the title to your page, and then if you want to get that default title for any pages, then you can make use of it. Likewise, we'll be using the logical assignment operators. In that scenario, we'll be having all this. Okay. And likewise, we have the exponentiation operators that will be working on the values. And if you want to make use of this, for example, if you can see, this exponentiation will give you exponents. So just like if you are trying to do x equals to, this is with the combination, which means x equals to x star, x exponentiation of y, which is 4, this is 6, right? So 4 equals to 4 to the power of 6. And if you are able to see that, that is a 4096 is the output, and it will be like this. Okay, which is like a to the power of b kind of thing. So which is like you just use the exponentiation to make use of exponentiation operators. So exponential operators will be simply use the um, double asterisk over here, or else if you add with any assignment operator, then it would be automatically assigned to the value over here. Okay. So that is how it will be, and these are all the operators we can make use of it. And then comes to like a conditional statements. Conditional statements are very easy to understand, which is like it will be in the general English only, which is like if the statements are true, then it will be condition. If the condition is true, then it will be like this. And in if statement, if there is a value, if it is condition is true, then the statement will execute. And it will be like this. If you are having a single statement, you can avoid it in the curly brackets, and if you are having the more statements, you can make use of the curly bracket. Okay. So generally, if the statement is true, then it will be displaying that, and if it is false, then it will be like this. So now if you can see this a is 30, if a equals to 20, then it will be equal to 20, else it is not equals to 20. That is what the condition I'm checking it over here. And if you can see that output not equals to 20, and if I'm using the 20 over here, then it will comes to the if statement, and it will be like this. So generally it is used to check the condition, which is like if this is turning out into the true or false. Based on that, it will be going that up. So if it is true, then it will execute this block, else it will execute this block. Likewise, in the if, we'll be having the multiple levels of checking, that is called as a if else. So for example, over here, if you can see this example, a equals to 60. So when I'm trying to do the value of a equals to 20, not equal, a equals to 30, equals to 30, else if a equals to 40, or else if a equals to 60, like this. So I'm checking 20, 30, 40, 50 values. If it is not equals to any of those, then it will come to the last else statement, and it will be displayed like this. Now in this case, it is not equals to 20, 30, 40, 50. And if it is something around 40, then it will comes to this block, and it will execute equal like this. So how it is checking is like it will check line by line, which is like a equals to 40. If the condition is true, then it will stay here. Else if it will comes to here, else if it will come to here, and then it will be done, and it will be executing that one, and it will not execute further. Okay, this is how the if and if else. So I just want to give some assignment on this, like which is like if you have the height and weight, and you just have to calculate the BMI. So the BMI calculation, it will be like weight by height into height, where we will be taking the height into a meters. And when it comes to weight status, like BMI, if it is less than 18.5, then that will be underweight. And if the BMI is greater than equals to 18.5 and less than equals to 24.9, it will be a healthy weight. And if it is between 25 and 29.9, then it will be overweight. And after that, you have to show that it is an obesity. And this is how you need to have to make use of your variables and if else condition with the operators, which is logical operators out there here. And you just try this example, and if you have any questions, let me know. Okay. So here we are concluding with this if else statement, and then we'll be um, checking with this conditional ternary operator, and then switch case, and that is the forthcoming concepts, how it will be and all, and we'll be discussing the arrays, objects, and loops, etc. So all these are all coming up. So just follow the recording and do till now. So whatever you'll be using um, over here. So any questions for today? So just let me know. I'll address your questions, and we'll wrap the session here. No questions. Okay. So if you are just see the recording, maybe I may little go faster or the conversation in the call. So just try to watch the recording, and if you have any questions, we will discuss tomorrow. So no problem in that. So at this point of time, try to get that what I'm using. So where we get the notes and recording, we are not uploading. We are not. So you just have to talk to the organizer only for that. So I have sent the notes also on a regular basis, and the recording also available with the organizer. Okay. Please talk to the organizer once. And anyone else has any other queries? Okay, if you don't have any questions, feel free to drop off. We'll see you in the next session. Thank you. Thank you for today.